Now, Gerhard Struber is odds-on favourite to become the next Bristol City manager. And by the time you're watching this video, it might have been formally announced by the club. And, well, I've had to do my own research to work out if this man is a good appointment. I'm going to take you through what I found. Now, what better way to start off a little bit of research than by going through his Wikipedia page? I'm not going to bore the life out of you and spend 20 minutes going through his page, but it's a good descriptor and, to be honest, the best I found on the internet of what he's done at each of the clubs he's managed so far, and ultimately that's what we're really interested in. So it looks like he was a professional footballer from the year 1995 to around 2003, made, what's that, about 100 professional appearances. It looks like he quit football to be a trainer for software systems, so it looked like he did some corporate work and then focused on coaching from there. It looks like his coaching career began at FC Liefering, I think that's called, alongside a guy called Janusz Gora. He was head coach of the Salzburg team for the UEFA Youth League, and then he kind of quit those jobs to focus on getting his UEFA Pro license. He became the manager of Wolfsberger AC for the 2019-2020 season. They were third after 14 games, gathered 4 points. So sounds like a pretty standard sort of performance at that club. And then he left for Barnsley, where he was appointed on the 20th of November 2019, succeeding Daniel Stendel, and they were bottom of the league, 7 points away from safety. Consigned to the relegation zone for most of the season, and then he won 2 games in stoppage time against Forest and Brentford at the end of the season, securing a place in the league for the season after, so they survived. That was, in terms of English football and his achievements, that's obviously keeping Barnsley up that season is probably one of his biggest achievements. It says there, to be fair, it was helped by Wigan falling into administration and getting a 12-point deduction that season, and also 2 stoppage time winners. I wouldn't call them, it's not luck or anything, but, well, it's a little bit, it's a bit edgy, I would say. For the 2021 season, he strived to get a stable team, as he didn't want to get in the relegation zone, and had ambitious goals for the future of the club. And I remember rightly, he left for New York Red Bulls because the Barnsley ownership did not match his ambitions, which is interesting because that's kind of the same reason that Liam Manning has left Bristol City. But anyway, we'll skip over that. We're talking about Gerhard Struber. Took over New York Red Bulls on the 6th of October 2020. They paid an undisclosed amount to Barnsley in order to sign him. So paying money to get a manager from a club kind of says a lot, I think. And also, I've seen some tweets talking, when we've had Bristol City tweets going around about Gerhard Struber, I've seen a few Barnsley fans reply to those tweets, and they can only say good things about Struber. So I think one of the best blessings you can get for either a player or a manager that joins your club is the fans of an opposing team telling you that they're a good person, right? And that's what we've had about Gerhard Struber. So they won, what's it look there, 3-2 MLS Cup playoffs loss against Columbus Crew. They made the playoffs 2 seasons in a row. He faced heavy scrutiny as they started the season with 1 win, 4 losses, 6 draws in the first 11 games. Oh, blimey. Okay. There was a racial incident. I'm not going to claim to know anything about that. He wasn't aware of the full situation during the game, and then he departed the club in May 2023. So that certainly looks like a bit of a mixed time at New York Red Bulls. On the 31st of July 2023, Struber became the head coach of Salzburg. Struber was fired after a loss to Sturmgras, who I think Fanny Mayuli was on loan for. Cologne, there's very little said about his time at Cologne. Joined in 12th of June 2024, sacked in May 2025, but they won the league and got promoted that season from the German second division. So I guess the 3 things to focus on were playoff achievements, pretty good for New York Red Bulls, keeping Barnsley in the championship, and getting Cologne promoted to the Bundesliga. So I guess that's his three main achievements. Yeah, and you can see win percentages there. We'll go through that in a bit more detail later. Now, I'm just going to very briefly interrupt myself to say, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the Robin's Nest YouTube channel down below. There'll be plenty more Bristol City, Gerhard Struber related, well, potentially Gerhard Struber related content coming your way, both in this pre-season and during next season. So if you want to stick around and see that, please subscribe down below. And if you think any of your friends would be interested as well, word of mouth referrals, I think, are going to be one of the best ways to grow this channel. So if you've got any friends you think would be interested in this kind of content, please pass it on to them. All right, I'll get back to the video now. So I'm drawing conclusions at this stage. I'm not necessarily saying this is definite. If you're watching this at the time that Gerhard Struber has actually been appointed, this might not have happened. But it feels a bit coincidental that, is it Vedad Ibsevic? I'm going to hopefully pronounce that correctly. The New York Red Bulls assistant coach has departed the club at the same time that Gerhard is very heavily touted to become the next Bristol City manager. Does that mean Vedad? Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Vedad? We'll find out when he gets formally announced. Does that mean he could be the next assistant coach? Just something I wanted to chuck in. All right, so we got a bit of information then about sort of average points per match, the clubs he's managed basically. And he's gone over sort of 1.5 points per match, hasn't he? At Cologne he got 1.78, Salzburg 1.94, New York Red Bulls 1.4, Barnsley 1.28, Wolfsberger 1.78. And you can see his win percentages there. 36 at, Liefering, 52% at Wolfsberger, and taken up by Barnsley, where he got a 36% win rate. But don't forget, that's his joint worst win rate, but at a club that were struggling in the Championship at the time. So I'd suggest that's a pretty good win rate, 36% of the time. 38% at New York Red Bulls. But again, I'm not entirely convinced New York Red Bulls were one of the stronger teams in America during that time. And then at his previous two clubs, so Salzburg, a 57% win percentage and a 53% at Cologne. I think, and those are pretty promising stats. You can see, I'd say those stats stack up quite well for him to be a fairly promising manager. What I've got here, I pulled this off from Fevs on Twitter. I'll leave a link to a few things in the description below. One of them will be to Fevs Football Analytics Twitter account. He's a very good football analyst that follows Bristol City, always tweets some useful and interesting things, and this is one of the things I've picked up from his Twitter account. So what we've got here is various, I'd say, attributes related to team styles. So you can see, I think that's, league position, ranking for possession across the season, ranking for passes in the opposition half. I don't know what Phil Tillers is. So they're passes in the opposition final third versus opponents' passes in the final third. So I guess dominating in the final third of the opponent's sort of half. PPDA, passes per defense. I'm not too worried about that. High recovery. So I guess recovering the ball high up the pitch. Expected goals, shots, expected goals conceded, and shots conceded. So they have ranked very, very high across the league in all of these things. And the things that I'm particularly interested in are passes in the opposition half. They rank number one. Field tilt, so making more passes than any other team basically in the final third compared to their opponents. So absolutely dominating opponents basically. Recovering the ball high up the pitch. So, pressing high and recovering the ball high up. They rank number one for expected goals, number one for shots, number 3 for expected goals conceded, and number 1, so they were the best team defensively in terms of conceding shots. So that's a pretty, when you look at those stats, that's pretty promising for how he got his Cologne team performing. And also from that, I think you can derive that he likes his teams to press high, he likes his teams to create a lot of chances, probably take risks and be really attacking. And when you think, what qualities do I want from a manager of Bristol City, right? This is my personal opinion, it's my channel at the end of the day, but energy, high press, taking risks, and attacking and trying to dominate games. That's exactly what you want to see from your football club as a fan. So, all of that looks pretty promising. I thought next I would just do a little segment on the players that he used at Cologne. So we've got here, I've ranked them by the number of appearances that they made last season, basically. We've got 3 players by the looks of it that played in 35 games. So 2 that played in 35 games. Dennis Hulsenbasic and Leart Pakrada. Anyway, I'm not going to pretend to pronounce them. But those were a couple of his most used players. The 2 I'm somewhat interested in are the centre forwards. So he has, by the looks of it, 3 centre forwards in his team. Luca Waldschmidt, who scored 10 goals. Damian Downs, an American, 6'4" American centre forward, scored 11 goals. And then Tim, is it Lemperle? I'm butchering these pronunciations. But he had 3 strikers there who scored double-digit goals. I made a video literally yesterday talking about the positions and the players that I think we need to sign as Bristol City. And I think one of the absolute priorities in my mind is getting a striker. So maybe one of those guys could move across and follow Gerhard. But I just thought it'd be interesting to show you his most used players. If you go on Transfermarkt, FB Ref for yourself, you can do a little bit of research into each of these players to see if any of them would be worth signing for Bristol City. But that was one of the things I thought would be worth talking about, right? Is the players he used the most at his previous club. And yeah, whether they get any use at Bristol City. So a lot has been said about the formation that Gerhard Struber likes to play. And I had a look at the teams that he used for Cologne last season. And, well, a lot of the teams he used were a 4-3-1-2. So 4 at the back, 3 kind of centre midfielders, a number 10 and 2 forwards. But I don't know about you. Bristol City, in my mind, at the moment, are not in a place with the players that we've got where we could genuinely hang our hat on 2 centre forwards. I just don't think we can play 2 strikers with the players that we've got. And I know that he is known as at previous clubs and he can utilise a 4-2-3-1. And I've said this all along about Bristol City, well, before I started this channel. But I think the current squad structure that we have at Bristol City is built to play a 4-2-3-1. I think we got 2 number 10s in Stokes and Twine. I don't know about Stokes, I've not seen enough of him. He obviously did all right at Cambridge and comes really highly regarded. But Scott Twine doesn't work on the wing. He is, in my mind, an out-and-out number 10. And the jury's still out on whether we should keep him, I think, to be completely honest with you. Up front, I think we need a new striker. I think we need someone capable of playing on their own. Maybe Fally Mayulu could do that under a new manager, but, jury's still out on him. And I just think the rest of the team is perfectly set up for a 4-2-3-1. You got 2 left wingers, well, players that could potentially play on the left side of the attack, in Mehmeti and Sam Bell. Again, I feel a bit for Sam Bell. I just don't think he did enough for me last season to warrant a starting place in the team and could even be loaned out. But I guess that'll be up to the new manager what happens there. I personally think we could do with a reinforcement on the left. It's just my opinion. I think Stokes and Twine can probably stay in that number 10 position. You've got Sykes and Yu on the right wing. Midfield, you kind of got 4 options for 2 positions, really. Jason Knight and Joe Williams, Max Bird and McGuane. Pring and Roberts can play at left back. McNally Dickey on the left side of defence. Viner and Atkinson can play on the right. And then you've got Tannum and McCrory for right back. And then we need a new goalkeeper, I think. We desperately, in my mind, need a new goalkeeper. I'd hope we can probably get Mark Travers from Bournemouth. He was on loan at Middlesbrough last season. That was kind of my pick there. But I think that this squad is well built for Gerhard Struber to take it on. If he's got experience using a 4-2-3-1, likes to press high, and you think quite a lot of our players have a lot of energy, excuse me, a lot of legs in them. Manning tried to get them playing pressing football. The midfield we've got, I think, are capable of doing that. Yeah, I think it's... The other manager I was talking about, I guess I'll mention it, was Rob Edwards, who predominantly plays a 3 at the back formation. And whilst I think that's good, I don't think it gets the best out of the squad that we've got. If there was one sort of downside, Rob Edwards was my pick to be the City manager, to be honest, before I came across Struber. But I just don't think he was... the squad is well suited to play a 3 at the back formation. I don't think our wing backs are quite good enough going forward. We don't have enough... I don't know. I just feel like Manning was trying to shoehorn players into the wing positions as well. I just don't think it worked. Whereas I think a 4-2-3-1 is better suited to this squad. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. But I think Struber can come in and really help us with this formation. All right. We've got one thing from ChatGPT just to finish things off. I did this when making videos about the other Bristol City managers potential managers on the shortlist. But I asked AI to tell me what their style is. There are 3 main positives, by the looks of it, from Gerhard Struber's football. High-intensity pressing, direct and vertical play, and a high work rate and high energy. But it's not always aesthetically pleasing. It says here his style is not about slow build-up or possession-based elegance. It might be a bit more chaotic and scrappy than that. And to be honest, I don't know about you, but when you think of Bristol City as a football club and the success we've had in recent years... Yes, we've played some good football at times, but I don't think Bristol City is a slow build-up, possession-based club. I don't think that's the ethos of Bristol City. I don't know about you, it just doesn't feel like that's the DNA of the club, whereas, yeah, high intensity, chaotic, sometimes maybe scrappy football feels a little bit more like Bristol City. I don't know, that's just my sort of gut feeling. I think it's a good match. And I'll be honest, I was pretty bullish on Rob Edwards this time last week. But Gerhard Struber, I think, has won me over. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you. I would definitely recommend, this is the best way, I think, to get to know a little bit more about your manager before he actually joins. Again, it's not actually officially confirmed. He's the odds-on favourite, and there's a lot of chat on social media. And I just have the feeling that this is the man that the club have decided to go for, hence why I'm making this video. And obviously the best way to find out about someone, I think, in the modern day is to watch a form of long-form content. And there isn't much out there with Gerhard Struber, but there is one. New York Red Bulls, I think this was during COVID, actually. So, football's moved on, times have changed, but I think you can still get to know a lot about Gerhard Struber from this one. There's a podcast that they recorded. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. There's 16-minute chat there with Gerhard Struber, so you can get to know him a little bit more yourself. All right, well, that's the end of the video. Like I said, I'm probably going a little bit early with this one. The news isn't official yet that Gerhard Struber is our manager, but it certainly looks like not quite the writing's on the wall yet, but it looks pretty close. And I'd be surprised if I think the club were looking to make an announcement sort of Thursday, Friday. Today's Thursday. Announcement might come today or tomorrow. So I thought I'd get out there early with this video. And I'm away. I'm swimming at Nationals this weekend. So I don't really think I'm going to be able to take all my equipment with me to record. So I thought I'd go early with this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a like rating. I really hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, comment below what you think of Gerhard Struber. And if there's anything I missed that I didn't cover in this video, and you want to let other Bristol City fans know about it, please let me know in the comments. All right, well, if you haven't already, by the way, please subscribe to the Robin's Nest YouTube channel. It should be around there, just by this old Bristol City scarf on your screen. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in my next video.